Look at the Great Pyramid of Giza and ask one question. If this was only a tomb, why does it still confuse the world after 4,500 years? Why does a monument built with so-called simple tools still stand with shocking precision? Why does it align with the earth, point toward the sky, hide chambers inside stone, and contain almost no normal tomb decoration? The official story says Egyptians built it, but the deeper evidence says something else. Egyptian hands moved the stones. Egyptian workers followed the orders. But the knowledge behind the Great Pyramid did not come from ordinary men. It came from the sky. The Egyptians called that source gods. Today, we call them aliens. For years, people were told the Great Pyramid was the tomb of Pharaoh Khufu. A king died, his people built a giant grave, and history moved on. But that explanation breaks the moment you look closely. Egyptian tombs were normally filled with writing, prayers, gods, afterlife scenes, and royal messages. Egyptians carved their beliefs into stone because writing was sacred. But inside the greatest pyramid on earth, there is almost nothing. No long story of Khufu's afterlife, no beautiful wall scenes, no clear royal message, no mummy of Khufu was found inside, no treasure proving this was a normal burial. The pyramid is almost silent. And that silence is not weakness. That silence is a clue. The inside does not feel like a tomb. It feels like a machine. A descending passage cuts into the ground. An ascending passage rises upward. The grand gallery climbs with strange precision. The king's chamber is made from massive granite blocks brought from far away. Above it are huge relieving chambers designed to control weight and pressure. Narrow shafts run through the pyramid toward the sky. This is not random architecture. This is planned geometry. This is stone engineering with a hidden purpose. A tomb is built for death. The Great Pyramid looks built for contact with the heavens. Mainstream history says the Egyptians were brilliant, and that is true. They were not primitive. They had workers, scribes, priests, surveyors, boats, ropes, sledges, stone tools, and a strong kingdom. But proving Egyptians worked on the pyramid does not prove Egyptians created the knowledge behind it. A construction crew can build a skyscraper without inventing the design. Workers can carry stones without understanding the full blueprint. That is the key. Egyptian labor is not the same as Egyptian origin. The question is not only who touched the stones, the real question is who gave the plan. Hidden above the king's chamber are rough red marks left by Egyptian work crews. These marks are often used as proof that Egyptians built the pyramid. But look carefully. They are not grand public inscriptions. They are not polished royal carvings. They are rough internal marks in hidden spaces. They prove workers were there. They prove crews moved through the structure, but they do not explain the design. They show hands, not mind. They show labor, not source. If aliens gave the blueprint and Egyptians built it, those marks are exactly what we would expect to find. The Diary of Merer is another famous piece of evidence. It describes Egyptian workers transporting limestone during the time of Khufu. This proves stones were moved by Egyptians. But again, a delivery record is not a blueprint. A shipping note does not explain the idea. Merer tells us blocks were carried. He does not tell us who created the design, who chose the measurements, who gave the cosmic purpose, or why the structure had to be aligned so perfectly. Transport is not origin. Labor is not knowledge. Movement is not meaning. Now look at the alignment. The Great Pyramid is aimed extremely close to true north, south, east, and west. This was not a desert accident. The entire structure is locked to the planet. To do this, the builders needed astronomy, mathematics, patience, and exact planning. Mainstream scholars say Egyptians watched the stars, but the alien theory asks the real question. How did such advanced cosmic knowledge appear so early, with such confidence, using such simple physical tools? Maybe the tools were simple, but the knowledge was not. The pyramid was not only a building, it was a sky project. Ancient Egypt was obsessed with the heavens. The stars were eternal. The king's soul was linked to the sky. The pharaoh was seen as a bridge between earth and heaven. Egyptian gods came from above, traveled through the sky, carried knowledge, protected order, and ruled cosmic law. Thoth was the god of writing, wisdom, numbers, and measurement. Seshat was connected to sacred building and measurement. Ra moved across the sky in a solar boat. Horus was the sky god. Osiris was linked with death and rebirth among the eternal world. These were not small myths to the Egyptians. These beings were the source of sacred knowledge. Here is the part people ignore. Ancient Egyptians did not say their greatest knowledge came from ordinary humans. Their sacred symbols show knowledge coming from gods. Writing, measurement, order, kingship, astronomy, and sacred architecture were connected to divine beings. But what if those gods were not imaginary? What if ancient people saw advanced visitors and describe them using the only words they had. A spacecraft becomes a solar boat. A flying machine becomes a chariot of the gods. A scientist becomes Thoth. Advanced equipment becomes magic. Instructions become ritual. Technology becomes religion. After thousands of years, real contact becomes myth. This is how aliens built the Great Pyramid, not by standing in the desert and lifting every stone with their hands. That is the childish version. The stronger truth is this: aliens gave the knowledge, the design, the measurements, the alignment, and the purpose. Egyptians supplied the labor. The stones were Egyptian, the workers were Egyptian. The land was Egyptian, but the blueprint came from beings remembered as gods. Human hands built the body. Alien knowledge built the mind. Look at the scale. More than 2 million blocks, some weighing several tons. Granite transported from Aswan, hundreds of miles away. Limestone brought from Tura, a project needing quarrying, transport, food, water, boats, teams, ramps, ropes, timing, and command. Yes, Egypt had organization. Yes, Egypt had workers, but organization only explains how bodies moved stone. It does not explain why the monument was designed like a cosmic signal. It does not explain why the greatest structure of the ancient world was aligned to earth and sky. It does not explain why a tomb needed to be so precise, so massive, and so silent. The worker city near Giza proves thousands of people were fed and organized. This destroys the old slave myth. The builders were skilled workers serving a powerful state, but this does not destroy the alien theory. It supports the better version. If advanced visitors wanted to leave a permanent message on Earth, they would not need to do all the labor. They would choose a civilization capable of obeying sacred authority, preserving divine instructions, organizing workers, and building for eternity. Ancient Egypt was perfect. It had the Nile, stone, kings, priests, scribes, astronomy, religion, and belief in gods from the sky. Now think about the hidden voids inside the pyramid. Modern scans have revealed spaces that are still not fully understood. After 4,500 years, the most famous monument on Earth still has secrets inside. Scientists must use advanced technology to see through it. That alone tells us this was not ordinary. A simple tomb should have been fully understood long ago. But the Great Pyramid still hides its purpose. It still behaves like a locked message. It still forces modern people to ask what the builders knew. Some people ask, if aliens built it, where is the spaceship? Where is the alien body? Where is the metal tool? But that question is weak. Advanced visitors would not need to leave evidence the way humans expect. Metal rusts, bodies decay, machines disappear, but stone survives. If you wanted to leave a message for future humanity, you would not write it on paper. You would build it into architecture. You would align it with Earth. You would connect it to the stars. You would make it so huge no empire could erase it. The Great Pyramid is not missing evidence. The Great Pyramid is the evidence. Now look beyond Egypt. Across the ancient world, different cultures built massive monuments connected to the sky. Stonehenge, Mesopotamian temples, Mayan pyramids, ancient sites in Peru. Different lands, different languages, different times, but the same pattern appears again and again. Sky gods, sacred knowledge, stone monuments, astronomical alignment, divine teachers, rulers linked to heaven. Mainstream history calls it imagination. But how many coincidences are needed before coincidence becomes a pattern? How many ancient cultures must point upward before we admit something may have come from above? This does not mean every monument was made by aliens. It means ancient humanity may have preserved memories of contact. One culture called them gods. Another called them sky beings. Another called them teachers. The names changed, but the pattern remained. Beings from above bring knowledge. They teach order. They give calendars, writing, measurement, architecture, and sacred law. Today we call these myths. But myths may be damaged memories of real events. Now return to the hieroglyphs. The secret is not one carving saying, aliens built this. The secret is the whole Egyptian belief system. Their symbols connect sacred knowledge with beings from the heavens. Their kingship connects earth to sky. Their building rituals connect measurement with divine command. Their gods control writing, numbers, order, stars, and rebirth. This means the Egyptians themselves believed the highest knowledge came from above. If those gods were visitors, then the real builders were not only the workers. The real builders were the teachers. That is why the Great Pyramid is different from a normal tomb. A tomb needs a burial. The pyramid has no confirmed mummy of Khufu. A tomb needs funerary decoration. The pyramid is almost empty. A tomb honors a king's journey after death. The pyramid points to the sky. A tomb is a grave. The Great Pyramid feels like a device. Its shape rises from earth like a stone mountain. Its passages move from below to above. Its chambers carry weight with impossible strength. Its shafts reach toward the heavens. Its silence speaks louder than writing. This was not built only for death. This was built for eternity. The official story says Khufu ordered it. Maybe he did, but ordering a structure is not the same as creating its knowledge. A king can command a project without inventing the science behind it. The pharaoh may have been the human authority. The priests may have preserved the instructions. The workers may have carried the stones. But the source of the plan may have been older, higher, and not from earth. Imagine ancient priests watching the stars. They receive sacred knowledge from beings they call gods. They are told where to build, how to align, how to measure, how to preserve the king's soul, and how to connect stone with heaven. They do not understand planets, spacecraft, or advanced science. They understand gods, stars, rebirth, and divine order. So they translate alien knowledge into religion. They turn instructions into rituals. They turn technology into sacred symbols. Then thousands of workers build under the command of the pharaoh. To them, it is a divine mission. To us, it may be evidence of contact. This is why the alien theory does not insult Egypt. It actually explains Egypt's greatness. The Egyptians were capable, but they may also have been taught. A student can be brilliant and still have a teacher. A civilization can be advanced and still receive knowledge from something more advanced. The Great Pyramid shows both truths. It is human in labor, Egyptian in stone, and alien in knowledge. So here is the proof chain. Worker marks prove Egyptian labor, not Egyptian origin. Merer's diary proves stone transport, not the source of the design. Worker settlements prove organization, not the cosmic blueprint. The alignment proves advanced sky knowledge. The scale proves ambition beyond a normal tomb. The silence inside proves the burial explanation is incomplete. The shafts point attention toward the heavens. The hidden voids prove the pyramid still holds secrets. The gods of Egypt were linked to writing, measurement, order, and sky travel. And if those gods were real visitors, then the conclusion becomes clear. Aliens built the Great Pyramid through Egyptian hands. That is the meaning of the title. It wasn't the Egyptians does not mean Egyptians did nothing. It means they were not the ultimate source. They were the builders on earth. But the knowledge came from beyond earth. The hands were human. The blueprint was not. The stones came from Egypt. The idea came from the sky. The Great Pyramid still stands because it was meant to survive. Empires collapsed, languages changed, religions disappeared, cities turned to dust, but the pyramid remained, silent, massive, aligned, waiting. If it was only a tomb, its mystery should have ended long ago, but it has not ended. Every scan, every chamber, every mark, every measurement, every ancient symbol keeps pointing to one truth. This structure was more than a grave. The real mystery is not how stones moved. Stones can move with enough workers, ropes, sledges, boats, and time. The real mystery is where the knowledge came from. Why build this shape? Why align it so precisely? Why connect it to the sky? Why leave it almost undecorated? Why hide chambers inside? Why make it the greatest monument of the ancient world? Why did the Egyptians say sacred knowledge came from gods? These questions do not point downward into the sand. They point upward. So when you look at the Great Pyramid, do not only see Egypt. See the sky above Egypt. Do not only see workers. See the teachers behind the workers. Do not only ask who carried the blocks. Ask who gave the plan. Because carrying stone is labor. Creating a cosmic monument that survives 4,500 years is something else. The Egyptians built with their hands, but the knowledge came from the heavens. The gods gave the design. The priests protected it. The workers raised it. The pyramid became the message. And if the gods were visitors from beyond Earth, then the truth is no longer impossible to say. Aliens built the Great Pyramid, not by replacing Egypt, but by guiding it. Not by removing human effort, but by giving human civilization knowledge it could not have created alone. The pyramid is the evidence. The alignment is the evidence. The silence is the evidence. The sky gods are the evidence. The hidden chambers are the evidence. The impossible ambition is the evidence. The Great Pyramid was not only a tomb. It was not only a wonder. It was a message from the sky, built in stone, carried by Egypt, and left for the future. And now, after thousands of years, the message is clear. The Egyptians were the hands, the aliens were the mind, the pyramid was their proof.